No sooner than I say they didn't include this than I think they should have, than they put it in the next episode. I still maintain it's late, though, but then again, so am I with these videos, so... The interlude I spoke of at the end of my last video, which comes now, is done very well, though. Barely any noise but the subtle music and Shin's young breathing. What the anime does, it does really well. For all I mention that the anime changes, I'm still thinking that this is a good adaptation. The novels offer more in some ways, but the anime is offering a good amount, if arranged differently. The Cherry Blossom Party is mostly new, taking some material from one of the 86 side stories, mostly the slagging of Lena based on the rumours Spearhead have heard. It's apparent that this is the first time Spearhead has come together. A point of background information is that squadrons are broken up and shuffled every 6 months, another measure to try and forestall revolt. And the talk of other units and battlefield tales being traded is a lovely scene, especially getting more from Kae. Though, would it have been more powerful had it come earlier? Or did we need to understand the 86's reality in order to see why moments like these matter so much? I think a case could be made either way. Certainly, it's a nice breather after last episode's reveal of the true state of things, and the certainty of the war coming calling once again. Which it quickly does. Another escalation, saying that Legion has learned of Shin's ability to predict them and is now adapting. The threat posed by this increase in intelligence coming on multiple layers, as Shin senses attention from the distance upon him specifically. To touch on that side story for a while, it's written from the perspective of Kujo and gives his last day. It comes 3 days after the death of Mina, Artemis, the girl of the original pair in the flower field in the OP, the other being Matthew, Walpurgis. Both casualties from before Alina took over handler duties for the squadron. Mina and Kujo were very close. She'd been like a little sister to him for years, and her death hit him very hard. In fact, it was this distraction that led him to be so convinced he could save someone else, as he failed her, which caused him to encounter the humanoid mine which killed him. The discussion about the rumoured princess handler occurs in Spearhead's base in the story, as they try to do maintenance on their juggernauts even after their present handler has shut off power to their base for the night, refusing to listen that the schedule was delayed because their shipment of spare parts hadn't come due to the Alban pilots being drunk. So they set up portable lights and continue, the decrepit juggernauts yet being their only salvation against the Legion, as a thunderstorm rages outside. Shin then detects that another squadron fighting in the night isn't likely to hold, and predicts a sortie order to reinforce them. Kujo dies thinking of Mina, just moments before the princess handler he wanted to listen to comes online, Lena taking over the general command of the battle after Spearhead's then handler walks out. Notably, there are a lot of side stories Asato Asato has written, but this is the first time the anime, which has been creating filler, high-quality filler but filler nonetheless, has dipped into them. Given their distribution is across all released volumes, and therefore the majority of them obviously append after Volume 1, I hope we do get some of them. There's some really nice stuff in them. You'll also notice 2 more have arrived in the flower field since Kae. The novels began to rapidly skip over the deaths Spearhead suffer from this point on, the impression given that they were coming so regularly and rapidly, there was no time nor point to spare paying attention to them. Originally, the only notice Dyer's death was given was a comment that he spent his spare time trying to fix a radio, much like Chisei building model aircraft or Kae raising flowers. We're then told of Raiden throwing the radio into the base's recycler, as it would never be fixed. Anju's comment about being able to carry the pot alone also contrasts with Dai helping her at the start. I've said already, but this anime does the little touches really well. As an aside, you could have kept watering Kae's flowers, guys, come on. I also have to compliment Asato Asato for her involvement with the series on Twitter, adding clarifications as the episodes come out, such as the first 2 in the flower field being Mina and Matthew, and the most recent 2 being Kariya, the girl, and Ochi, the large guy. Or the fact that the minefield between the 86 and the Grand Mur has both anti-armor and anti-personnel mines, the latter being useless against the Legion, thus showing the minefield and the artillery placed there is to threaten the 86 themselves as much as defend against the Legion. The stupidity of the Republic only gets deeper. It's also interesting to see the Legion anti-personnel mines make their first significant appearance. They did have a few frames at the very beginning of Episode 1, but in the novels they didn't play a significant role until much later, after their initial mention as Kujo's doom. Daia's death is therefore similar to Kujo's original fate, though the anime does still leave out that the minds are programmed to repeat various short phrases to seem like wounded humans in need of help to try and succor the unwary. Interestingly, the anime put Spearhead's complement at 16 at this point. In the novels, they were down to 13, Lena getting increasingly desperate to try and have them reinforced. Her attempts to get permission to use the artillery to support Spearhead had already failed before she went looking for those old maps. The conversation Lena has with her uncle seems to have been split up from one which comes later, after she's endured Spearhead's losses for longer, though it does serve to show their previously warm relationship becoming increasingly strained, as well as another subtle nod to her uncle's deeper attitude. At this point, I'm going to presume that this episode has been inserted before the novel's material rather than over it, so I'll forego talking about what was happening in the novel at this point until future episodes either cover it or not. The next episode's attack on the mentioned Legion base seems also to be new content, the most similar event in the novels coming at the very end of Chapter 5 and being covered very sparingly, so we're back to the show stretching out the first volume to fill the cour. For clarification, this episode started at the beginning of Chapter 5, but didn't actually feature most of the chapter's content, so that's all yet to come. Otherwise, Episode 6 gave us more of Annette trying too hard to be horrendous, Lena visibly recoiling, which is nice to see, and Lena being hormonal, perhaps to make up for the lack of her perving on Shin as he showers last time. It's cute, but I'm not sure what the point is. Humanizing Lena? Contrasting her really just a girl to the broken mentality of the 86? We've seen her innocence by this point, and now is about the time the shine should really be coming off it. She's witness to, debatably culpable in, large-scale death and destruction, albeit at a deliberately sanitized distance. Moreover, if it's to contrast with the 86, how damaged they actually are hasn't been fully addressed yet, so any comparison is still a bit lacking. They're child soldiers, you can expect they're not quite normal, but it hasn't been shown. Her flowers have even changed, her original pure white lilies, a symbol for innocence, changing to a selection of coloured blossoms. Is this all to contrast with the later toll we can expect the ongoing battlefield to take on her? Maybe it's just to be cute. Anime be anime. And one other strange change the anime has made that doesn't seem to have any logic behind it. In the novels, Shin really doesn't like sweets. There's a reason for this, though the anime might not reach it. Not much else to say here. Screw you, Annette. See you in episode 7.